Somewhere out there, hidden inside a photograph taken by the most powerful telescope humans have ever built, is a secret. It's not obvious, it's not glowing, it's not screaming for attention. It's a single tiny red dot, smaller than a pixel of light, buried in a field of thousands of galaxies. Astronomers weren't even looking for it. They were hunting for something else entirely, isn't the stars, the very first stars to ever exist. But instead, they may have stumbled onto something far stranger. A black hole disguised as a star that's been hiding in plain sight for over 12 billion years. This is the story of Glimpse 17,775. In September 2024, the James Webb Space Telescope pointed itself toward a massive cluster of galaxies called Abell S1063. Astronomers weren't hunting for black holes. They were searching for something almost mythical. Population 3 stars. These would be the very first stars ever formed, made purely of hydrogen and helium, born before the universe had created any heavier elements at all. No one has ever confirmed finding one, but galaxy clusters like Abell S1063 have a strange superpower. They're so massive that their gravity actually bends space itself. Light passing near them gets stretched, magnified, and focused, like a lens the size of a galaxy cluster. Astronomers call this gravitational lensing, and it turns clusters like this into natural telescopes, letting us see objects far behind them that would otherwise be too faint and too distant to ever detect. So while scanning for ancient stars, the data captured something else entirely, a faint smear of red light sitting behind the cluster, magnified just enough to be noticed. At first glance, it looked completely unremarkable. A small, fuzzy reddish blob with a slightly brighter core, but its distance told a different story. Astronomers measured its redshift at roughly 3.5, meaning its light left this object when the universe was only about 1.8 billion years old, less than 15% of its current age. That gravitational lens didn't just help astronomers see it, it amplified the object's light enough to actually study it in real detail. Something that would normally be impossible for an object this small and this far away. Without that cosmic accident, Glimpse 17,775 might have stayed invisible forever. Here's where the story gets interesting. Astronomers didn't just photograph this object, they spread its light apart into a spectrum. Essentially a fingerprint made of color. Every element leaves its own signature inside that fingerprint. Webb spent about 30 hours studying this single dot. But because gravitational lensing amplified its light, those 30 hours were effectively equivalent to 80 hours of observation on an unlensed object. It became the deepest spectrum ever captured for one of these mysterious little red dots. And inside that spectrum, scientists found something extraordinary. More than 40 distinct spectral lines: hydrogen, oxygen, helium, iron, sulfur. This tiny red dot wasn't just sitting there quietly, it was speaking in a language written in light, and astronomers were finally close enough to translate it. Little red dots like this one had already puzzled astronomers for years. Some theories suggested compact, star-packed young galaxies. Others suspected feeding black holes. But Glimpse 17,775 gave scientists something rare, enough data to actually test these ideas against each other. The hydrogen, oxygen, and helium lines weren't behaving like gas in a simple rotating galaxy. Something else was distorting them. Astronomers detected signs of electron scattering, light being scattered by an incredibly dense sea of free electrons. That's the signature of a thick, layered cocoon of gas, wrapped tightly around something powerful. Then came an iron forest. So many iron emission lines that researchers simply ran out of clean ways to describe them individually. Add unusual oxygen and helium signatures on top, and an ordinary star-forming galaxy stopped making sense. But an extraordinarily energetic object buried inside dense gas, that fit perfectly. This is what astronomers now call a black hole star, or BH star. Don't picture a literal star with a black hole inside it. Picture something stranger, a rapidly feeding black hole, buried deep inside an extremely dense cocoon of infalling gas. As material spirals inward, it heats up violently, releasing enormous amounts of radiation. That radiation slams into the surrounding cocoon, gets absorbed, scattered, and re-emitted. And from billions of light years away, the entire structure blurs into what looks like a single, compact, reddish object. The black hole is never directly visible. The gas around it does all the disguising. NASA has called glimpse 17775 the strongest evidence yet for this interpretation, and interestingly, it also appears to sit inside a much larger host galaxy, which helps explain why some of its features look slightly different from other little red dots discovered so far. And this is where the story stops being about one red dot and becomes something much bigger. If objects like glimpse 17775 really are rapidly growing black holes hidden inside gas cocoons this early in cosmic history, then astronomers are facing one of the biggest open questions in modern astrophysics. How did black holes get so massive so fast? The universe was only 1.8 billion years old when this light began its journey. And yet, already something enormous was feeding, growing, and radiating behind a wall of gas. Glimpse 17775 isn't alone either. Webb keeps finding more of these hidden objects, suggesting an entire hidden population of monster black holes may have been growing in secret all across the early universe. Astronomers didn't set out that day to find a disguised black hole. They were looking for the very first stars in the universe. Instead, they found something arguably even stranger. Proof that the universe has been hiding its most violent objects behind a thin, quiet veil of gas and light. A tiny red dot, a hidden monster, and one more piece of the puzzle of how our universe built itself. If this blew your mind, subscribe, because the universe has a lot more secrets like this one still hiding in plain sight.